everybody. Today being Friendship Day, I thought it is very important that I post an important topic which you will have to be aware of, because you can save a friend's life. Well, this is not only for friends, it can happen to anybody in the family, it can happen to any public, and you as a non-medical person can still do something to save their life until they reach the hospital or until the ambulance reaches us. So I'm going to teach you this topic called as CPR, and this is called as cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which we have to do for anybody who suddenly has a cardiac arrest. Now this word cardiac arrest, we've hearing it very often now, and we say that we've seen in newses where they suddenly died because of cardiac arrest in the gym, he died because of cardiac arrest at home, he had a cardiac arrest while he was at sleep, and so on and so forth. Now cardiac arrest means it's not a problem in the heart, but it is the heart stops suddenly due to any medical problem. So when the heart stops suddenly, the patient, he becomes unconscious, and we can do something to help them and revive their heart or save them from permanently declaring them as death. So what is CPR? CPR means cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Now cardio means the heart, pulmonary means the lung, and resuscitation is what you are going to do for somebody's heart and lung which has stopped. So this is called as CPR, and we follow 3 rules A, B and C to ensure we do the correct CPR at the correct pace to save somebody's life. Now let's go on with the sequence. Let's imagine that this person has suddenly collapsed. He fell down on the floor. And what we're going to do is, when anybody suddenly collapses, we need to understand, are they conscious, unconscious? So we go and assess the response. That's the first step. Hello? Hey, are you okay? Hello? Assessing response can simply be done by shaking the shoulder gently and shouting into their ears to see whether they can hear you or not. And at this point of time, if the patient is not moving, he's not opening his eyes, he's not talking to you, and he's just lying flat like this means the patient is unconscious. The moment you understand that somebody is unconscious, the immediate next step is for you to see if they are breathing or not. And that is what we're going to do by following the steps of A, B and C. Because when somebody is unconscious and you want to see if he is breathing, the first step is always A, which is to open the airway. Because when somebody becomes unconscious, we have a big muscle in the mouth which is called as the tongue, and the tongue just falls back. So when somebody is lying down unconscious, the tongue falls back and it closes the airway. Even if he wants to breathe, he cannot breathe. So if I want to assess if he is breathing, the first step is always to open the airway. And this is done by gently holding the patient's forehead, using 2 fingers on the bony part of the chin, and you do head tilt and chin lift to see if the airway is going to be open. The airway will become open because the tongue is attached to the base of the mandible, so the tongue will be pulled up when you do head tilt and chin lift. See, it is like somebody sniffing. When you do this, his airway is open. Now, after A, which is airway, I've opened it, I go to B, which is to check whether he is breathing. Now, to check if somebody is breathing, you just need to bend down. You have to look if the chest is moving. You can listen if any air is coming. At the same time, you can also feel if any air is coming from the nose and mouth. So, to remind you all, assessment of breathing is look, listen and feel, maintaining the open airway, and we do this for 10 seconds to confirm if somebody is breathing or not. So I'm going to confirm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, if the patient is unconscious and I've checked his breathing and he's not breathing after 10 seconds, this means the patient is in cardiac arrest, and I immediately have to call the ambulance to reach me as early as possible. Now, to avoid wasting time, if you have any other family member or friends, just tell them call the ambulance immediately. Meanwhile, you are going to do the C. So A is to open the airway, B is to check the breathing, and we immediately do the C when we know he's in cardiac arrest, and C is nothing but chest compressions. Now, when I'm going to teach you how to do the chest compressions, we all have to understand where the heart is. Because many times we think the heart is on the left side. Everybody thinks heart is on the left side. No. The heart is right here in the center. Whether it is a male or a female, the heart is right here in the center. So if you want to compress the heart, pump the heart, and allow the blood to keep circulating, you need to compress or press in the center of the chest and not on the left side. So in the center of the chest, with your eyes, draw an imaginary line between the nipples. Place your left hand on the center of the chest. Take your right hand, lock it nicely, and lift your wrist so that only the base of your hand is going to touch the center, because we have a very thick bone called the sternum. It will not break how much ever you push down, and the heart is just below the sternum. Now when I've placed my hand like this, I lock my elbow and I'm going to push down to compress the heart between these two bones, which is the sternum and the spine. That's why we have to do CPR on the floor. Okay, so I've confirmed he's not breathing, so I want to start my chest compressions. Just look at the way that I'm pressing the chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. After 30 such compressions, we go back, and now it is time for us to give artificial oxygen, and then we come back to the chest compressions. So this cycle, basically 32 is to circulate the oxygen in the patient's body until he reaches the hospital. So once I finish 30 compressions, I'm going to go back to the head till chin lift to open the airway. I press the nose, open the mouth, and I'm going to blow into the mouth to give my oxygen to the patient's chest. Now I'm just using this mannequin for that, because the how the chest should move is more clear in this mannequin. So again, I open the airway, I close the mouth. Just observe here. So we have to give 2 effective rescue breaths, and after 2 effective rescue breaths, I come back and I'm going to compress 30 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. And I go back to 2 breaths. 32, 32. What this is doing, basically, it is just trying to circulate the oxygen, and the oxygen which the lung was normally doing and the heart was normally doing, it is going to, you're artificially doing this and maintaining the A, B and C. We're going to circulate the oxygen, not for anything else, but just to keep our brain cells alive. Because our human brain, the cells will die within 4 to 6 minutes if you don't start CPR. That's why we lose many patients while they're brought in their car. When they come to the hospital, we tell them, no, he's already brain dead, is because they haven't given this first aid immediately. So I hope this is helpful for you all. It is very important. We can save somebody's life by just performing the simple maneuvers of maintaining the CPR, and I hope you all understood what I said and the importance of why we have to do CPR, and this can really help you to save somebody's life sometime during your lifetime, and it is very helpful as well. Thank you very much, and I hope it was clear. So just to remind you, and just to remember the steps again. First, check the level of consciousness. If the patient is unconscious, immediately A, open the airway. B, check the breathing for 10 seconds. If the patient is not breathing, call the ambulance, and meanwhile C, which is the chest compressions, 32, 32, 32. Until your patient reaches the hospital or the ambulance reaches you. Sometimes in children, especially, when you just continue giving CPR, heart may restart again, and there's high chances of them to survive just by this maneuver that you're going to do. You don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a nurse. Any public person can do this. As long as you've understood how to do it correctly, you can save somebody's life. Thank you very much, and I hope it was useful to you all. See you next time with another very useful tip. Bye-bye.